Welcome to our channel. Today we'll be diving into the fascinating and somewhat bizarre history of how cannabis became illegal around the world. We'll explore the complex interplay of politics, economics, and cultural influences that shaped our understanding of this versatile plant. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Now let's embark on this wild journey. To understand how cannabis became illegal, we need to take a look at its early history. Cannabis has been used for thousands of years for its medicinal, recreational, and industrial properties. In fact, some of the earliest records date back to 2900 BC in ancient China, where it was valued for its fibrous medicinal qualities and even its psychoactive effects. The plant eventually spread to other parts of the world, including India, the Middle East, and Africa. It was widely used and accepted in these societies, with various cultures integrating cannabis into religious rituals, traditional medicine, and everyday life. I mean, who wouldn't want a versatile plant with so many uses? It's like the Swiss Army knife of flora. The shift in perception started in the early 20th century in the United States. The first laws against cannabis were enacted at the local level. For example, in 1913, California banned cannabis as a poison. Talk about overreacting, am I right or am I right? This was just the beginning of a trend that would spread across the country. A combination of factors led to the demonization of cannabis, including racism and xenophobia. Mexican immigrants, for example, were associated with cannabis use, and this led to a negative image of the plant. You know how it goes. Fear of the unknown and all that jazz. Moreover, in the early 20th century, the use of cannabis was also linked to African-American jazz musicians, which fueled racial stereotypes and further stigmatized the plant. But let's not forget the economic motivations behind the anti-cannabis efforts. Major industries such as timber and textiles saw hemp as a threat to their profits, so they decided to join the anti-cannabis crusade. Powerful businessmen like William Randolph Hearst, who owned vast forests for his newspaper empire, used their influence to promote anti-cannabis sentiment. The real turning point came with the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, which effectively made cannabis illegal in the United States. This act was championed by Harry J. Anslinger, the first commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. You could say he was the original cannabis party pooper. Anslinger, a master of media manipulation, employed scare tactics and sensationalism to turn public opinion against cannabis. Anslinger used propaganda and sensationalist stories to create a moral panic around cannabis. Movies like Reefer Madness were released, which depicted cannabis users as dangerous and morally depraved. This was the time when fake news wasn't just a hashtag, but a powerful tool to manipulate public opinion. The United States then pushed for the international prohibition of cannabis. In 1961, the United Nations Single Convention of Narcotic Drugs classified cannabis as a Schedule I substance, which led to its criminalization in many countries. It's like the domino effect, but with more paperwork and less fun. The war on drugs, launched by President Richard Nixon in the 1970s, further solidified the global criminalization of cannabis and led to the incarceration of countless individuals for nonviolent drug offenses. Nixon clearly didn't have a soft spot for the green stuff. The war on drugs also had far-reaching consequences, with drug-related violence escalating in numerous countries. Over the past few decades, there has been a growing movement to reevaluate and reform cannabis laws. Many countries and states have either decriminalized or legalized cannabis for medical and recreational use. You could say we're slowly but surely rolling back the tide of prohibition. This shift is driven by increased awareness of the potential medicinal benefits of cannabis, as well as the recognition that the war on drugs has disproportionately impacted marginalized communities. It's time to clear the air and debunk some of the myths surrounding cannabis. Let's take a moment to address some common misconceptions about cannabis. No, it won't turn you into a raving, bloodthirsty maniac. And no, it's not a gateway drug that leads to a life of crime and debauchery. It's high time we put these outdated ideas to rest and focus on the scientific evidence and the need for sensible policies. While there is still a long way to go, the global conversation around cannabis is undoubtedly changing, and many countries are moving towards more progressive policies. Could we be witnessing the dawn of a new era for the little green plant that could? So, there you have it, the complex, twisted, and at times downright absurd history of how cannabis became illegal around the world. As we continue to challenge old stigmas and push for policy reform, it's important to remember the historical context that led us to where we are today. If you found this video insightful and entertaining, please give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your perspectives on the history of cannabis prohibition and the ongoing changes in the legislation around the world. Let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating and funny content and hit that notification bell to stay updated. We'll continue to explore a wide range of topics from the history of controversial subjects to the latest developments in science, technology, and culture. You won't want to miss out. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of cannabis prohibition. We hope this video has provided you with a better understanding of the forces that shaped our world and inspired you to join the conversation. Until next time, folks, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.